Hi, welcome to FedScoopTV. I'm Colby Hockmuth. I'm sitting here with Avi Bender, Chief Technology Officer at the Census Bureau. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So Avi, how do you define innovation?
Favorite topic of mine. I think innovation is really a process of how you challenge and question the way you do business today so that you can do a better job going forward. Right. So it's not just about technology or an invention. Think about, for example, the smartphone, right? The smartphone is a great invention, but how you apply that to change a business process is really where innovation takes place. So I think it's really about the application of the technology to solve specific business problems.
Right. And so what sort of guidance can you provide to other agencies for establishing innovation programs?
So innovation is kind of a favorite topic of agencies. And I don't think it's about establishing an office or a program. It's really about finding a way to build that into the fabric of the way the organization works. So innovation has to be within the culture. You can't do that overnight, but what you can do is put in levers of change. And levers of change could be creating risk-free environments for people to experiment and try new things. So at the Bureau, for example, we created a lab that's removed from the production environment, and that's really afforded an opportunity for people to experiment and try new things and fail fast, but not fail in a production environment. So I think you can't change cultures overnight, but you have to foster innovation through taking and encouraging risk.
Right. And so moving on to big data, what is your perspective on that?
Interesting topic, big data. So big data, really data sets that the government publishes and the private sector publishes. But it's more than that. It's about context. It's about how that data is actually used to drive business change. So my definition would be that, for example, the Bureau releases lots of data, but it's really how the public uses that data and how the data can actually drive economic growth. Data, in fact, will become the fuel for the 21st century economy, right? And we need to know how to capitalize on that data and really leverage that for public service. So I think it's really your perspective on big data. I think we need to do more in terms of releasing the data to the public, which the Bureau routinely does, and so do other agencies. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to catalyze that data in order to drive economic growth and entrepreneurship in the marketplace.
Sure. And so with the technology landscape that changes so rapidly,
right.
How can external innovation be leveraged?
Well, not a day goes by that you don't hear something about cloud and mobile computing and all this great stuff, and big data, of course. The ability for us to consume all of this technology is much slower than the way it's happening in the marketplace. So I think the way this consumption needs to take place is not just to ride on the technology du jour, but we really need to fundamentally understand the capabilities that we need in order to drive our business, and then how to apply these technologies to solve business problems. So I think there's a systematic approach of how you go about doing this, but it has to be driven by business requirements.
Sure. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
This is FedScoopTV.